Hey everybody, it's Jaron. I hope you're doing really well. I miss you guys. I feel like it's been forever. I can't wait to see you soon. Hey, by the way, congratulations. You made it through the school year. I know the school year ended kind of weird, but hey, you did it. You're here and it's summer now. So congratulations, it's awesome. I hope we get to hang out soon. But for today, this is what we're doing. So as usual, if you're not with your parents, if you're not with your siblings, if you're watching this by yourself, pause this, go get them, and come on back and watch this together. So we have a game today. It's a really simple game. It's called Bible Pick Trivia. And all you have to do is guess the Bible story, right? You have to guess what Bible story we're talking about. So what will happen is you'll see a series of pictures come up on the screen. And you might think they're not related at all, but they are. They're all talking about the same Bible story. And your job is to figure out which one it is. And as soon as you know it, as soon as you figure it out, just go ahead and yell it out. All right, so here we go. So that last one, it was talking about Jesus walking on water, right? And that's actually the story that we have for today. Now, I know you've probably heard this story before. Most everybody has at least heard of this story. It's just too popular not to, right? So you've probably heard about this story. But here's the thing. There are still new things that you can learn. That's the amazing thing about the Bible, is that no matter how many times you read a story or hear a story or read a scripture, there can always be a new thing, a new angle, a new part of it that it just kind of clicked for you this time that maybe you didn't see last time. There's always something new. And so that can be the case for today. So if you've heard this story before, just stay tuned, because there could be some new stuff in here for you, okay? So to start off, what I want us to do is, as a family, I want you to talk about this. I want you to name 3 things that you're scared of. Name 3 things that frighten you, that you're scared of, and what is it? What makes them scary? Why are you scared of them? So fear is a funny thing, right? Like we all deal with it. We all have fears. We all, it's just a part of life. But it's interesting because sometimes fear can be fun, it's weird to think about, but well, think about it. So around Halloween time, people go to haunted houses, right? They go to places that they're going to pay money to get into with the intention that they're going to get scared. Like that's what they want because it's fun. Like they know they're safe, they know it's okay, and yet it's scary. So it's like this fun kind of scary, the scary kind of fun. It's kind of weird, right? Or roller coasters. Now I love roller coasters. They're so much fun, right? But that's kind of strange when you think about it because they're scary. That's the whole point. If you go on a roller coaster that's not scary, it's probably boring. It's not fun. So we go to these places like Six Flags and we get in line and we wait and we're excited and the anticipation is building and we finally get there and we're ready to do it. And then there's this moment. And maybe it's the moment where we finally get in and get like strapped in. So now we're stuck. Or maybe it's the moment when, we're climbing up and getting ready for that first drop and we get to the top and when you look down and there's this moment of like, no, this was a mistake. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Like there's this moment of panic, this moment of fear, but it's too late. And so it goes and we go on the ride and we're screaming and we're laughing and it's all happening at the same time because it's kind of fun to be scared. Like it's kind of strange. That's how it can be sometimes. But most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, fear is not fun. We don't like to feel afraid. But it's a part of life. We all deal with it, whether it's we're scared of the dark or we're scared of going down to the basement or scared to be alone or maybe there's stuff in life that's happening that's scary. Like we all deal with fear. It's just a part of life, unfortunately. And so the question is, how do we deal with it? Like, what do we do with that? Because we don't want it to take over. We want to be able to kind of beat it. So how do we do that? Well, the story, like I said, we're talking about today, Jesus walking on water, it actually can help us here, right? So if you remember last week, we talked about Jesus feeding the 5,000, right? There was a story where the crowd was there and it was thousands of people and they followed him and he spent all day with them and it was dinner time. And so he did this miracle where he fed them with just a couple loaves of bread and a couple fish. And so now they're eating and they got full bellies. And so now it's like evening and it's starting to get dark and things start to taper off. People start to go home. And so pretty soon it's just Jesus and his disciples. And so he tells his disciples, hey, get back in the boat and head out and go to the other shore, like row out to the opposite side. Remember, they were, Jesus wanted to get away. That was the whole thing. Is he was dealing with some stuff and he wanted some alone time. And so he sends his disciples out on the boat to kind of go to the other side of the lake. Now, a couple things to know. This lake is not small. Like, this is not a little fishing pond kind of lake. This is a huge lake. It's actually called the Sea of Galilee. It's huge. It's about the size of a large city. So it's the kind of lake where, if you're standing on one shore, you can't see the opposite shore. You cannot see that far. Like, it's a really, really big body of water, right? And so they get into this boat, and this boat doesn't have an engine, right? They don't have GPS navigation. It's a big boat with paddles and a sail. That's all there is to it. And so they get in this boat and they start paddling out, and it's nighttime by now. It's dark out. And so they head out on the water and they're heading toward the other side, and the night's kind of going on, and they get out toward the middle of this giant, the Sea of Galilee. And it's about 4:00 in the morning, and all of a sudden they have this storm happen. Now, to show you what that storm kind of would have been like, I invited my son Keegan here. He's going to help us simulate what a storm is like. Okay, so they rode out there, right? And they're, like I said, it's about 4:00 in the morning. They're in the middle of this large body of water, and they can't see the shore on either side, right? And so about that time, a strong breeze starts to kick up, and yeah, that's good. That's a good breeze. Okay, so it's kind of annoying, right? But it's okay. They were, they're still rowing. They're trying to deal with it. And then it starts to get much bigger. Now it's like gusting wind. It's like super, super strong. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So now we have this strong wind happening. And if you've ever been on a boat and it got windy, a couple things happen. One is, those nice, gentle waves, just kind of doing this. Like, they don't do that anymore. Now there are these violent waves that are crashing up against the side of the boat, and the boat is not just kind of tipping a little bit, but it's all over the place, and it's getting jostled around, and because those waves are violent. And the other thing is that the wind actually can kind of sweep up some of the water from the lake and spray. And so it feels like it's raining. So they were getting sprayed with water. They were getting sprayed with, okay, that was a little late. Gotta do it a little early. Okay, should we try it again? Okay. So the wind is whipping up this water, and they are getting sprayed with water. Okay, it's still a little late. You gotta do it like right when I say it. Okay, all right, you got this. Okay, all right. So the wind is whipping up the water, and they are just getting sprayed. Okay, you have to let me finish the line though. Like, it's got to be right on the line. Not okay. You got. I know you can do this. All right. So. Is that what you want to do? No, stop it. Now put it down. Oh, put it down. Put it down. Okay, what? Hang on. Where did you get the bucket of water? Put the bucket of water. I'm warning you. You better don't. No. All right. So, honestly, this is probably what it would have been like. I mean, they were soaked, and so, okay, you know what? Hang on a second. Okay, that's better. So anyway, they're out. They're in the middle of the storm. They're trying to row, right? But the boat is just going crazy. There's all this wind and everything else, and they're drenched. And it's the middle of the night, and they are genuinely scared, right? They're in the middle of a storm, on the middle of a lake, in the middle of the night, and this is not a good situation. And so they are genuinely scared. And so they're fighting. They're doing what they can to row to shore, and they look out. And they see this figure on the water, this human figure, not in the water, on the water. And it's walking toward them. They think it's a ghost, right? Like they're genuinely terrified now, because for them, this was like, they would have interpreted this as like a sign that they were about to die. Like, oh my gosh, there's a ghost. That means we're all going to die. Like that's what they would have been thinking. And so they are genuinely terrified now. They see this figure, and this figure that's walking toward them. But then the figure calls out and it says, don't be afraid, it's me. And they recognize Jesus' voice. They know who it is. So they're confused, whatever. They're still fighting the storm. They're still kind of like all over the place. And Peter, he's kind of the bold one of the group. He calls out to Jesus. And he says, Jesus, if that's you, tell me to come out to you. And Jesus says, all right, let's do it. Come on out. And so Peter like walks over to the edge of the boat, and he swings the foot out, and he steps out, and he steps onto the water, and it catches him. Imagine what that have been like. Like if you've ever been to the pool and you're standing with your toes like right on the edge, and you go to like step in, and you're gonna like, you're gonna jump in and maybe plug your nose or whatever. But imagine like stepping out like that, but the water catches your foot, and so it lands on there, and you don't sink in. Like that's what it would have been like. Peter steps on the water, and it holds him, and so he gets his other foot and he swings it out, and it catches too. And so now he's like standing there, and maybe he's holding onto the side of the boat, and he's got to be shaking, right? He's got to be a little bit nervous and a little bit scared, because he's standing on water, which he shouldn't be able to do, right? And so then he kind of lets go of the boat and he kind of pushes off, and so now he's just standing on the water. And this water is not calm, right? There's waves and there's all sorts of stuff going on, but he sees where Jesus is, and he starts walking toward Jesus. And it's like, he's getting bumped around, and he steps and he is walking on water toward Jesus. And then something happens. Maybe it's like a big gust of wind, right? That maybe knocked him off balance, and whatever it was, he like looked down, and he looked at the water, and he saw how giant the waves were. He saw the storm. He looked away from Jesus, and he looked at this storm, and this moment of like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? This panic, this fear set in, and he started to sink. And his feet drop in the water. He starts sinking in. And so Jesus reaches down and grabs him and pulls him up. He says, why did you doubt? And then they walk together toward the boat. They get in the boat, and immediately the wind dies. And it calms. Now, I want you to think about this. When did Peter start to sink? Because he was walking on water. Like, it was successful. He was working. But there was a moment where it stopped working. What happened? It's when he took his eyes off Jesus and he started looking at the waves. He looked at the storm. He started to focus on the thing that he was scared of instead of focusing on Jesus. That's when he started to sink. And that's the lesson for us, right? Because we all deal with fear. We all deal with things that we're scared of. It's going to happen. Whether we're scared of the dark, or we're scared of going down in the basement, or we're scared of being alone, or maybe life is scary right now, or things might be changing and that feels scary. Like, we're all going to deal with fear. And so the lesson is not to focus on the fear, right? It's okay to feel fear. The disciples felt fear. That's okay. That's normal. That's natural. But the trick is not to focus on it. Because when we focus just on the fear, when we just dwell on the thing that we're scared of, is when it can take over. When that fear can just completely take us over. And now we're like ruled by that fear. Instead, the trick is to focus on Jesus. To remain focused, to dwell on him. That's when Peter was able to walk on waters, because when he was focused on Jesus. Now, that can be hard, because when life is scary, when scary stuff's happening, it can feel like God's not there. It can feel like Jesus is not close. So it's hard. But the reality is God is everywhere, right? Jesus is near. And so our job, our task, what we need to do in those moments when we're afraid is to focus on Jesus, to connect with him, to talk with him, to focus on him. And that will allow us to overcome our fear. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're afraid of, no matter what you're dealing with, it's okay. It's okay to be afraid. That's totally normal. But just don't focus only on your fear. Don't let it take over. Instead, focus on Jesus. Focus on him, on the fact that he is close, even if it doesn't feel like it, that he is there. And he will help you to overcome your fear. Let's pray. God, thank you so much. Thank you that no matter what we're going through, you're here. No matter where we are, you're here. Thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for being there to guide us and help us and direct us. God, we all deal with times when we're scared, when we're dealing with stuff that's scary. All of us do. Help us in those times to not just focus on the scary stuff. God, help us to focus on you. Because God, you don't want us to live by fear. You don't want fear to take over our lives, God. You want us to live boldly and be able to overcome our fear. So God, help us to focus on you, because we know that you can help us do that. Thank you so much. We love you. It's in your son's name. Amen. All right, you guys, I hope I see you really soon. Hope you have a great week. Take it easy. We'll see you soon.